Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. It's a prayer for communicators. Lord, let the good news of your marvelous deeds fall on every ear, and let all tongues rejoice in your wisdom, your compassion, your faithfulness, and your love. Make me bold and let me share your word with those you desire to reach. As my heart overflows with your love, speak through me. Let me proclaim your glory and your majesty and tell of the kindness you have shown your people. This I ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. All right, so thank you to those who had submitted agenda items. Again, we're just kind of looking to streamline meetings a little bit and make sure that we are covering those hot topics that people want to discuss at the meetings, and so kind of creating a more collaborative process with creating our discussion points for each month. So the first topic that we wanted to talk about was Ash Wednesday, Easter, and Lent, which is right around the corner here. I know Patty had submitted a question about that, and Jen, and I'm seeing if either of them are on right now. Don't see either of them. Oh, Jen's on. Okay. So, what are your parishes doing for, maybe we start with Ash Wednesday and talking about what the plan is. I know there was a little bit of, discussion about what to do with the ashes this year. Are your churches doing signups, registrations? What kind of does your plan look like, if anybody is willing to talk about what they're doing?
This is Jen.
You make an announcement that we're recording.
Oh, we are recording. Yes, we are recording.
This is Jen, and can you hear me? I have headphones on.
Yes.
Okay. It's bulletin day for me, so I have my phone on you and headphones, and that's it. So we're gonna try to listen. We ended up doing Eventbrite for registrations for Ash Wednesday. We have 3 masses, and Father Dave is going to do Q-tips. I'm not sure how he's going to do that, but that's what he's going to do. We have new carpet in the sanctuary, so the thought of sprinkling on top made everybody nervous. So
we're also doing the Q-tips, Jen. That's the plan at St. Hubert as well.
Okay.
We tested the Q-tip and we found the best thing to do is to have the Q-tip be damp and then do that, because I know some parishes were talking about adding a bunch of holy water on the ashes, but then you're creating mud.
Yeah.
And then I got 6-inch swabs through Amazon, so one-sided. They kind of look like COVID test swabs, to be honest, but and we're using Eventbrite as well.
St. Tim's and Blaine, we're doing an in-person mass with registration and a maximum of 125 with sprinkling. We have we don't have carpeting. And then we're doing an option. We're doing streaming mass at 6 p.m. that evening, and people can come to the church in the afternoon, and we have some of our Knights of Columbus are going to hand out little packets, little ash packets, just go to someone, pass it through the window of the car with masks on, so people can, take that home, watch streaming mass, and, impose ashes on within their household. And then with the directives as well, that whatever ashes aren't used should be buried, since they're blessed.
We're doing a similar thing at St. John's of Little Canada. We often have, after our evening masses, a drive-up communion distribution in our kind of gathering space circle. It just works out really nicely in our parking lot. And we're going to distribute ashes as well as communion after our evening mass. 3 masses, live streaming our evening one. Not doing official signups, but have a survey for people to fill out to see what our capacities are, because we do have overflow spaces as well that we've been able to tap into even at Christmas and haven't needed anything in the pandemic beyond that.
We're doing a sign up genius. We did that at Christmas, and then we didn't actually have people check in, but we found that we had an idea how many people were coming. And then we found a lot of people were checking and choosing, if they wanted to go to a different mass because it looked like less people. And then at the last minute, we're in a group advertisement with our other churches in our deanery, and we noticed everyone else was doing drive up ashes. So we quickly scrambled and we're like, oh, well, we can do it too, and picked hours that other people weren't doing. So we have 2 masses and then 2 drive up times where people will get can get ashes, and then we're live streaming our evening mass.
So for the drive up, is everyone doing something similar with the little packets like Rhonda, or are some of you doing like a Q-tip and just giving ashes as they would in the church?
I think our intention is to give them as they'd receive them in the church, but I could be wrong.
That's what we're doing as well, and I think we're sprinkling.
I'm not sure whether we're sprinkling or doing Q-tips, but we are intending on doing at Mary Mother drive up. We do a drive up in the morning at 11 o'clock. So after our 9 a.m. stream, we're going to do drive up communion and ashes. But we are uniquely.
It's okay. What?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Perfect. Anybody else have anything for Ash Wednesday?
Sorry about that. I was unmuted and someone asked me a question.
Understandable.
We are doing sprinkling of ashes, and we're doing sign up on Sign Up Genius. No drive ups or anything like that.
Here at IHM, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Because it's just like there's usually something going on when I'm trying to do this, whether I'm answering phones or something. Anyway, here at IHM, we're just going to have 2 masses. Our morning mass will be drive up. That tends to be our elderly parishioners. We do a weekly drive up mass that is getting pretty well attended. And then the evening mass will be ashes. I'm not sure, I haven't heard if they're doing Q-tips or not. I don't think they'll be sprinkling, but I just haven't heard exactly what they're doing for in-church ash distribution, so.
And I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was not on mute. And at St. Cordelia, we're doing similar. We're also doing, drive up ashes using a Q-tip. We also have little envelopes putting ashes in. Our pastoral care minister is going out to senior housing, senior developments to distribute ashes. And we're having, all of our masses are going to be live streamed as well. And we're not doing a sign up though. We haven't needed really to do that as much. And we too have capacity for overflow if needed. So never thought I'd see the day of ashes distributed with a Q-tip.
Oh. Yeah, and I forgot to add IHM, we do have sign up still. So that evening mass is sign up, and I think it's already well over half capacity.
So we're not doing, we haven't done a sign up genius for any of our masses thus far. We have overflow space in our basement with projectors, screens or whatever. So we haven't had the need for that at the time. We, I think, are planning on Q-tips, but Father, we're waiting to hear what the Archdiocese came out with and what their recommendation was. So far, I don't know that there's been a whole lot of, this is, the way to do it. So I think at this point we're planning on Q-tips. We've added a second mass, or added a 4th mass. So there'll be 3 masses that will just be services, no communion, and then our evening mass will be with communion.
At Our Lady of Lourdes, this is where I get jealous of the parishes with these parking lots. The drive-up things and the FM transmitters just aren't going to work for us here downtown. But it's pretty much our standard protocol: signups, live stream. With our capacity, the signups are important, and Q-tips. Although the other thing that strikes me is we're getting really, this far into the pandemic, operationally and as communicators, we're really getting good at this. I mean, it's compare this to a year ago where, you know, we were fumbling and scrambling a bit to try to figure out how to best, you know, make the liturgies available and to best continue to minister. You know, anymore, you bring up a subject like this and people can like start to give you a checklist of what they're up to. So there you go.
Dean, with your 6-inch swabs and getting them wet, and since you're seem to be the one that tested, did you test the small Q-tips and did they just not work, or what's your consensus on that?
We just thought people would feel safer and it would be easier for the person who's distributing. So they're 6 inches long. Father, because we're not sure if we're going to have like the ashes and then just dampen a bunch of them and just have them in there. So as people come up, you do it. You just discard that one, just grab the next one, because we don't want it to be awkward. It's already going to be awkward. I get that. But we felt that the 6-inch would be a little easier for people. So, but you can do a Q-tip, you know, you can do. I had one parishioner call concerned that we were going to use Q-tips that are plastic and therefore not environmentally friendly because they don't decompose and such. And I said, well, we're using cotton swabs and it's made of, the thing is made out of bamboo or whatever. And that's fine. I understand that's something they were concerned about, and I appreciate that, but no. And also it might be easier. We have not decided yet to do drive-through, but I think we should. And actually after listening here, because I think there's a lot of people that we have more people watching the Mass than we have coming, but there's a lot of people that would feel really good about watching it and then coming after and doing it in a drive-through where they stay in their car and they're safe. I know some parishes continue to do parking lot masses, and those are becoming more and more popular, especially with older people. They like that. So hope I answered the question there.
So those of you who are doing the drive-through, are you you're doing it after Mass times, and then how are you getting volunteers to distribute the ashes?
Our deacon is doing the drive up for us.
Okay.
I also have a follow-up on the Q-tip. I think we've been waiting for more direction, because I think we were under the impression that sprinkling was the like recommended path. So I think we've been talking about that. But wouldn't you have to burn the Q-tips?
That's my understanding, is you'd have to burn the Q-tips.
Yep.
So then from an environmental answer, I suppose still the creation with the plastic, but like the outcome, we're not putting them in the trash.
Correct.
Yeah, burn or bury, and it's awfully hard to bury something when we have these wind chills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Dean, with the getting them damp, are you just spraying them with like a mist bottle? Because I would think if you submerge them, they're not damp; they're like dripping wet. Are you just misting them, or how are you getting them just?
I think we're gonna submerge them, and then just set them out on a paper towel for a little bit, and then use them. As far as the direction, you're correct. We had direction from the Office of Worship saying that you could do the sprinkling, or you could do swab and such. Then we had communications say, just wait, the Pope just came out and said, we're going to do sprinkling. But then there was a later communication going back to that you could do the cotton swab and such. And then if you want to add humor, one of my staff said, well, can we just do that little sugar duster for cookies and just, because it'd be very quick, Dean. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that wasn't in the communication, but it was a fun humor because we have to have humor in these times.
That's great.
Back to humor for a second. Our friends at Our Lady of Grace in Edina have given theirs sort of a theme, and they're calling, and it's a distribution in their parking lot. They're calling it Ash and Dash. So whatever. And back to Dean's comment about the people with great ideas. You know, those guns that shoot out the T-shirts at football games?
Yeah.
That was suggested at our place, that you just maybe could we just send one out and it would go flying, and no.
I have a mosquito gun that shoots out salt, so it would work for the ashes really well. Or a fly, whatever it is.
Oh, that's great.
Awesome. What about Lent in general? What kinds of programs, events are your parishes offering this year? At St. Hubert, we're doing a Lenten book study, a virtual book study. And it is, it's 40 days to rid yourself of sin. And I'm trying to remember what the actual title of the book is. Lenten Healing. It's by now I'm drawing a blank. I should have had that. Anyway, so we're doing like virtual book study led by a parishioner. So we ordered a bunch of books from our local bookstore, and people can kind of either do it on their own time or do virtual meetings regularly with the group, or there's a couple prayer components they could add in. So it's kind of flexible with how much collaboration or community people want to participate in. But we thought that it would be nice to offer one book that everybody can kind of participate with together to go into Lent with. So that is kind of the main program we have going on here at St. Hubert.
We did a virtual book club just in January with a book that we had given for Christmas to anyone who attended Christmas Mass, and it went over really well. So we haven't officially said that we're going to do one during Lent, but I have a meeting later this afternoon actually, and I wanted to propose that. I really feel like touching people in their homes, in the safety of their homes right now in these times, is really effective. And I want to see as many different ways that we can do that. Even though it's a small group situation, it's really helpful, I think, in furthering discipleship and evangelization. So I don't know what, but I love that idea. The other thing that we're going to bring back from last year that we kind of tried to kick off last Lent and then the pandemic hit is we have vocations crosses. So we have 2 crucifixes that we would lend out to a family, one family per week, and let them do prayers for vocations during that week and then bring it back to Mass. Because we have the 2 of them, we can sanitize them in between each, and they'd sit for a whole week in between each. So we wanted to bring that back as just a way to, I don't know, just get people praying again. But other than that, we're not doing a retreat this year. We are not probably going to do a fish fry. We kind of are thinking about liking that idea that was bandied about a little bit about partnering with a local, it was the Green Mill that I think we had done it in the past when we were just looking around locally to see if there's anyone who might be able to do that for curbside pickup. But our men's club isn't really super excited about that, and they're the ones that do all the heavy lifting usually. So yeah, otherwise we're doing still Stations of the Cross every Friday, and we are going to have morning prayer in the Triduum as well. So all live streamed as well.
Can I ask a question about the Stations of the Cross? Our team is talking about that right now and trying to figure out how to do something for online. And we have one of our staff trying to find out if it's copyright okay to post those prayers online in a recording. Do we have any way to find that out? Does anybody know?
I can say that at St. Tim's in Blaine, last year and this year, we are using the text from Liturgical Press written by Timothy Radcliffe, and our liturgist, wrote and got permission so that they can be used, the words can be used in a video that we're going to have then. We'll stream it and then it'll be archived on YouTube and Facebook.
Most of what
oh, go ahead.
Most of our liturgical stuff is we have also reached out and covered either through onelicense.net or some other former fashion. Our director of liturgy has taken care of that, and we always post that code every time that we redo it, even if it's overkill, just to make sure.
Yeah, I was trying to think if I remember that there was something, and we have it on our website now. Someone from USCCB had said that they were waiving the need for permission to use readings or mass prayers. Yeah, I seem to recall, and I was gonna, again, this would take a little more digging. I thought that Archbishop did a Stations of the Cross via YouTube last year as well, and I don't recall anything along those lines. But yeah, I mean, if you have someone to ask for permission from, that's always better. But I do know some of those were being waived still because we're still under this peacetime emergency pandemic situation.
I'll also add, so at St. Tim's, this is tentative. We're still ironing out the details, but our plan is to have a video virtual Stations of the Cross that people, that'll be streamed and on our YouTube channel every Friday. But then tentatively, we're planning on Good Friday that I'm going to take the lead on coordinating staff and parishioners to write like a St. Tim's Stations of the Cross. Which I'll either post on the website just in written text, or maybe I'll do like a voiceover and make like a video on PowerPoint, but with an eye to something that kind of connects parishioners to one another at a time when like there's going to be a gazillion different stations from Catholic churches and places or ministries around the world to kind of invite people, to kind of keep building those bonds of relationship between parishioners. So that's last year I can say, the staff did the 7 words of Christ, the 7 last words, and each staff member offered a brief reflection, and it's a video. So it's sort of building off of that idea. And I can share that video if that would be helpful to anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll drop it in.
At St. Bonaventure, we have a number of years given away like a key tag or some sort of like piece where people literally like pick it up. I think the first weekend mass of Lent. And this year we decided to bring that back and we're going to mail it out. So it's just like literally a little key tag. This particular one is the Mother Teresa, like do small things kind of idea. And so I'm working on trying to get a letter out next week with all of our Lent offerings. But then also this little key tag just to try, I like how Laura said it, to kind of touch people at home. It's something small, but it is something, and it's a reminder that in this strange time we can all do something.
At St. Joe's, we're gonna do a mailing towards the end of March to all parishes or all parishioners. And we're going to cover kind of what the Holy Week looks like, and also provide them different opportunities to connect. Like we're going to be starting a virtual Lectio Divina after Easter and such. But we did that just before Christmas because we already did a mailing, like, kind of a Christmas card such thing. And we just made it. And then each ministry group, we're meeting next week, we'll say these are different ways you can connect. Most of them are virtual, of course, and such, but people really appreciated that, especially those that maybe are at home and feeling very isolated. We got really good feedback on that, so we're going to do that again. And then we do Renew, which is a small faith sharing group. We usually have 200 plus people. We are having to do it virtually this year, and right now I think we're at like 100 people that are going to do it. Some of them on their own and some of them via Zoom. And not everyone, some people are zoomed out. I acknowledge that. But other people are very, very isolated and longing for any connection they can get.
So we are doing, Father is going to do a 3 sessions retreat in English and then 3 in Spanish. We couldn't convince him to do it live stream, so he's only doing that in person, which I'm kind of disappointed on, but that was his choice or his decision. We're doing Stations of the Cross on Friday night, and I don't think it's been determined if that's going to be live stream or not. We have our Confestival at the end of March. That's a day long with multiple priests. I think we have up to 13 priests throughout the day now that people will be able to come in person for. And then we're recording right now all the mysteries of the rosary. We have various groups, like our 8th graders just recorded one of them with so each father's doing 2, and then different groups with each of the fathers recording. So we did one in the church at St. Mark's with our 8 a.m. daily mass goers. Then we did one at the school with our 8th graders. And then we've got 2 more to still record. And we're going to premiere those one each week. And then all 4 of those will be available for people to find on our Facebook page and YouTube throughout. It'll be available from whenever, but we're going to encourage it during Lent, obviously, and increase in the rosary. And then we did a Divine Mercy recording last year. We're going to have that available this year. It was not, it was very quickly done just to have something out there for people. We'd like to redo it. I just don't know if we're going to have time, but even if we can't, at least we'll still have last year's available. So that will be available for people, and we'll encourage them to go to that too.
Here at IHM, we actually have a Bible study that's been going on through January, and I think it ends somewhere in March, or anyway. So they're still doing that. We also have on Thursdays an evensong. It's recorded, and you can also live stream it. So it's with our 3 people in our staff are it's just evensong prayer and all that kind of stuff. And it's live streamed, or the video will be available for people to look at later. Interestingly, Father is very interested in having an anointing mass, except for they've changed it to anointing service, and it will be drive-by. So they are going to try to do that for some of the parishioners that really want to do that. Otherwise, we're also doing a lot of more donation-based. It seems this parish just really wants to give to people, especially those in need. And there's been a couple traditions. One of them is an Easter basket to Mary's Place. We're going to continue that tradition. And then there's a Hennepin County group that they also collect items for, that they're also working with. So not as many activities in the church. I think it's really felt our areas are too small to do too much. You know, a 10-group Bible study is probably the max that we can do, unless we do something in the church itself. So that's kind of the direction they're going here. I'm just trying to think if there was one other thing, the anointing mass. Oh, we are doing a communal reconciliation, which I thought was interesting. So that is something that we are going to do also. So that's kind of what we're doing here.
For the Archdiocese, we did just put up a link to like Lenten resources on the website. And so if you did not have something at your parish, or even frankly, even if you do have something going on at your parish, the Synod at Home should be a really easy, like low impact access thing. So yeah, Colin agrees. The 1-year-old loves to contribute. So, so that's on that page. And also, if you don't have like a Bible study going, we do still have the Praying with Scripture up as well. So that's something that might be helpful. Otherwise, I know a lot of parishes have found other small group things that are working well this time of year. But yeah, hopefully the Synod at Home is something that'd be fun that you could do with your small groups and would help kind of your family households as well.
Okay, great. Anything else on Lent ideas or things that you're running? Otherwise, we can talk a little bit about Easter itself. And if I know our liturgy team is just trying to work through all of the pivots this year and what all of the changes mean, because I mean, year to year, you can kind of just redo what you did last year with a few modifications, and that's certainly not the case this year. So they're working their way towards Easter. They're going to be doing several different Holy Week reconciliation times, as they typically do. Usually they have, reconciliation offered every day, either for one period for a couple hours or 2 different periods for an hour each. And then we're planning to do Easter, our normal Easter schedule, which is the Easter Vigil at 8:15, and then Easter Sunday we have a 7:30, 9, and 11 a.m. Mass. And we'll follow the same sign up procedures that we've been doing on Sign Up Genius. We have plenty of overflow here too, so we've never really had an issue with filling up, but that's kind of what I know about what we've got going on for Easter at this point.
We haven't really made the decisions at St. Tim's yet. The liturgy team's still meeting and trying to figure it out. And I think leaning towards not doing a vigil just because it's so, how do you adapt something that's so long and sensory? So not sure yet on our end.
We're going to do a vigil at St. Joe's, and we have a brand new director of liturgy and music, and they're looking at doing recordings with the choir so that you can have the different sounds and the different experiences for the person at home. And we did that at Christmas, and it was very seamless because if you were at home, you thought, oh, well, those people must have walked away, and this new person was in the choir and they sang and such, but it was very well received. It does take a lot to coordinate, however. You have to have the right skill set, which luckily the person we hired has that, including their own recording studio in their house. So, but
small details.
Yeah, I didn't know that when we hired this. I did a huge 6-week search for this, and I didn't even know that till last night when we were talking about it. Like, well, I can just do it. I'm like, bonus. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, at IHM, I don't know what they're planning yet. I know that they were looking at doing an Easter Vigil, but I don't think there's any details being worked out. So I think they will probably do what they usually do for masses, but every mass is live streamed on Facebook here at this point. So we live stream everything. We don't just pick certain masses. Each one is live streamed. Even our daily masses are live streamed. And they just, it's real technical. They use their phones. And yeah, there's sometimes some problems, but that's what, so anyway, as for Easter in itself, I don't know too much details, just that they were looking at having a vigil, so.
We have,
Do you have I'm sorry, Megan.
I was gonna say, we have
question for Mary. Who do you, is it volunteers or staff that does your recording of every mass?
It is father or another staff member. And they're looking into getting a better sound system and then recording situation, but I don't expect that would be put in by Easter. So it's actually father recording on his phone or our other staff member recording on their phone. Even this even song, it's going to be someone's phone that they're recording and live streaming. Most of the time it's gone smoothly. There's been a couple times that there's volume issues, but for most of it, we just live stream it through our Facebook page. So we have links on our website that bring people right to the Facebook page, and they don't have to have Facebook. I'm not quite sure how all that works, but a lot of our parishioners just really, really like that capability. And what happened is a lot of the homebound parishioners were calling saying it was so great to see the church, so great to be able to see this, that they decided that they were just going to invest in some more sound and recording equipment to be able to keep this up even after we return to non-pandemic levels and people can come in and we don't, whatever that looks like. So that's what they're doing.
I was gonna say, I've been a little bit surprised with the number of new people going through RCIA and RCIC within our church. We have 6 RCIC candidates and 6 RCIA candidates that'll be coming coming into the church at Easter Vigil, which is like the biggest number we've had in the past several years. So during a pandemic year, I was pretty inspired by that myself.
I think they like the option of online because I think we have 16 and that's the biggest we've ever had. I mean, it's just crazy. But I think they really like that online option of not having to come into the class.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because the same at Lourdes, this is the largest RCIA class that we've had that anyone can recall. So there's probably some great learnings there too.
This is shocking to me because we are 0, 0, 0. Like I didn't even consider that people might have RCIA right now. So this speaks to why this is so great to have this collaborative group. Because I would have had no idea.
Did you offer an online version?
No, I don't think it occurred to any of us. And I feel a little bit awful saying that, but I think I can't speak for others, and I'm certainly the least ministry person here because I went through RCAA just a few years ago. I don't think it was even on our radar. I think if someone had approached and wanted to go through it, we probably would have tried to find a way to make it feasible, but we certainly were not on the front end of it. And maybe that's all the difference. Maybe we didn't offer it, so no one was looking for it.
Well, and
Jody, we at St.
And I think that's the importance of this group. I mean, I think at any time throughout this meeting, each one of us have kind of went, oh, well, we're not doing that. Oh, should we be doing that? Oh, maybe we should talk. I got to talk to this person. Why aren't we doing this? I mean, we're not all going to do it perfect. We're not all going to do it the exact same because we have different mindsets of how to do things. We have different talents within our organization. I mean, that's the beauty of this group, is to give ideas, but never to feel like your church isn't doing enough, because I think God places upon your church what you should be doing at that time. And if we can learn from each other and adapt that for next time, then maybe it'll be better. Maybe it'll be different. Maybe it'll be harder than you thought. And you're going to go, I'm not doing that again. But thank you for your honesty, Jody. And I do think that's a great reminder for all of us that don't compare. We're doing the best we can.
Yes, I'm with Jody too here at St. Bridget's. We probably didn't even think of that for RCI, and so I don't think we have any either. But I love the group because you guys give us great ideas, and I take them to to Father Dave and Jessica, and they think about it, and sometimes they adapt and grab it, or they don't. It's okay.
I think for us, we didn't get out in front of the RCIA thing either, really. We had just a lot of inquiries, I think, that had come in, and a group kind of formed out of that. And our director of discipleship, I mean, she has a background in street evangelization, and she is just like super, she will be on the phone with, a vendor about canceling her cable, and she'll end up talking to them about God and church and their faith. Like she just has this gift to her. So I think part of it is, the people that are in the different roles and what your community needs like that. I think Amanda said it perfectly. Each of our churches look a little bit different based on the gifts and the people we have and what our communities need. All right, so maybe we can kind of steer out of Ash Wednesday, Easter Lent a little bit. And the next topic that I had, first, Jen, did you have anything else that you wanted to touch on, since I know this was your agenda item too? So I just want to make sure we covered what we needed to for you.
No, you're great. I don't know if I can't remember that I wrote that. But no, I think one of the questions I had at some point on Flock Note was about fish fry, and Father Dave really just felt like it wasn't appropriate for us to be taking from the hurting restaurants in our community. There's a restaurant right across the street that'll, I guess, closes on Friday nights when we have fish fry. So, and I'm new here, so I didn't know all those things. But they, we did a Survey Monkey, and it was hands down. We got a lot of responses, which was fun to find out that Evangelist works, because we sent it out in Evangelist. And then they went to the link, and we had a lot of responses, and it was overwhelming that they wanted us to support, even though they missed the fish fry. They felt like the community time of fish fry was the best part, and we wouldn't be able to have that. And so now, just to support the restaurants would be a great idea. So we are actually doing marketing, of course, to make St. Bridget's look good, but just to encourage people to go support their restaurants. So that's what all of our posters, and we have a banner to cover up our old fish fry sign and all that. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks,
I'm
Jen.
glad you're able to get such feedback. That's really good to hear from your community, you know?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, granted, we have, I don't know, 700 something on the Evangelist all members group. So, and we had probably 140 responses, which to me was a lot. So.
So the next item that we have on the agenda is Year of St. Joseph. And just kind of want to hear what everybody has going on for the Year of St. Joseph. If you've got any book studies happening. I know we have kind of run into a roadblock in the fact that all of the books are sold out for St. Joseph, and we weren't able to order bulk in time to get a big study going here. We did find from one of the publishers that there are books available. So right now we're looking at purchasing some of those to kind of get a study going, but so far we haven't promoted anything yet. But our associate pastor is doing like bi-weekly videos about St. Joseph and about the different identities, I guess you could say, of St. Joseph, like the just man, the father, the husband, the worker, and he's just kind of going in depth on who St. Joseph was. I think that St. Joseph is somebody that we all know of, but we don't necessarily all know about. So just to kind of get to know him a little bit, and who he was as a saint and why he's important to us. So that is one thing that we've got going on, and hopefully we'll have a book that we can implement soon, if not during Lent, hopefully in the next few months.
So here at IHM, you know, I kind of got, I mean, I was out on medical leave in December, so that whole thing kind of didn't get promoted as I would have liked. So instead, what I'm doing is we still do the weekly bulletin, and so I just add things each week when I have room about St. Joseph. Catholic.org is where I kind of got the information of, and I also reference that that's where I'm getting it. And so I'm putting it in our bulletin, I'm putting it on our social media, and it's been well received, but that's, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the promotion out there for this that I would have liked. So.
We are, and we're a St. Joseph parish. We are one of the pilgrimage sites. So we are going to be the month of July.
Cool.
The Archdiocese called to all the different St. Josephs and asked if you're open to taking a month. And so we're going to have July. So we're looking at what we're going to do around that. So we have a bit of time so that we can learn from other parishes a little bit. We've also been using the information and promoting St. Joseph. In fact, in our Christmas mailer, there was a thing about that, the Year of St. Joseph. And we'll do some more stuff about that in our Easter mailing. But it's good to know the books are sold out and such. But I think we'll have to find resources. I like the idea of doing a little thing in the bulletin and just I like that idea. So I think thank you. We'll take that idea.
Yeah, you know, each thing, I mean, I had a ton of room the first one I did. So I did a whole bulletin column along with pictures. So I just, you know, looked for different pictures. And like I said, Catholic.org just said, all that we know about St. Joseph is mostly from the Bible, and then it just listed different things that we knew. So I just take a piece of that each week. And, I've been, putting, as room permits, putting a picture of him and saying, oh, this is what we know. We know that he's, I'm trying to think of what that he really cared about Jesus, because in the Bible, it states when Jesus was lost in the temple, Mary and Joseph were looking frantically for him. So he cared. I mean, different things like that people probably know, but it doesn't really occur to you that, oh yeah, I read that. And that means that he cares. So not that he wouldn't, but, different pieces and just, whatever works. And I'm doing something a little different on Facebook. I'm actually doing it bi-weekly because I want to move into kind of Lent things that I Q&As about Lent, but just a picture and something about them, and people are reading it, and a couple of people have said, hey, this is really great to know. I didn't know this. And then the parishioners that are homebound that receive the bulletin, I think they really enjoy reading a bit about St. Joseph.
Yeah. We're also going to have like a coloring thing of St. Joseph's, because like we mail to all of our youth something every month, including with children's bulletins and then other catechesis and such. So we're looking at doing a kind of maybe a coloring page, and they can drop it off, and we'll just maybe in July we'll just have them all along the wall, kind of their art, because everyone knows that children love that when they can be displayed, and then they love showing their parents and such. So that's something we're playing with, but we have until July to think about that.
Oh, if I wasn't sure if everyone knows, do you guys know what Dean's chatting about when he talks about the pilgrimage sites and what that is? Okay, so it's actually part of a series called Cup of Joe. We haven't broadcasted broadly yet because they're still working on some kind of communications, and I was just seeing if I could have permission to show our early preview, even though it's not perfect and approved yet. And it got permission to do so. So do you guys want to see a preview of what we're planning for the Archdiocese? Cool. All right, I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully, Megan, could you help with that? I think I'm disabled. I guess while we're getting that work done, but the idea is that there'll be 10 live streams once a month. And of course, they'll be recorded too at each of the Joe pilgrimage sites, talking about like the 10 wonders of St. Joseph. I haven't been on all the meetings. I'm just going to help them kind of broadcast the message out. But yeah, the idea is that visiting the 10 St. Joseph parishes in our Archdiocese and talking about the 10 wonders of St. Joseph. And we're trying to brainstorm what time would be best to do it, but we're thinking about maybe actually doing it at noon, because we haven't gotten a ton of engagement on evening live streams recently, to be quite honest. And so we're thinking about trying that. Okay, so you might have to turn your volume up, and it moves kind of fast, but this is where we're going with it. So still kind of rough, as you can kind of tell, but I think, but that's sort of the direction we're going with that, of just kind of getting it out there to get people to know St. Joseph a little bit more. So that will be a resource for you guys. And big thanks to all St. Joseph parishes out there that are welcoming in speakers for these sort of TED Talks about cool stuff about St. Joseph. So there you go.
I'm sorry if you said this. When do you think that it will?
The first one will be sometime in March, like when it's going to be filmed. So ideally, now that it's the 1st of February, we should be advertising for it, but I think they're still trying to make sure we know when everything's going to be going out. But we're brainstorming the best time. And again, I'm thinking about doing I wanted to try something that was consistent, not always like the 1st of the month. So we're thinking like the first Tuesday in March, like it's always going to be like the first Tuesday of the month, and possibly a lunch hour talk instead of the evening, just to one, again, I think these are going to maybe be a little bit lighter, but also just to, again, the evening live streams, we've not seen a lot of engagement. So I'm kind of trying to, I'd love to play around with the time of day. And since people are kind of teleworking, I wonder if maybe we could get a better audience if we tried that midday. So we'll see if they take my suggestion.
I don't know if you guys have seen, the Diocese of Charlotte in North Carolina started a year of St. Joseph in December, when was it? January. It was earlier. It was January maybe of 20. Anyway, it was before the Pope did it. And they have an absolutely beautiful website full of a lot of information and a lot of resources. It's literally just called yearofstjoseph.org. S in Saint is ST. But anyway, it's just another resource out there. It's really, some of it's just gorgeous, and they have books and all kinds of different prayers and stuff.
Claire, you said that was Charlotte?
Yeah, Charlotte, North Carolina. I'll throw the link up on the chat.
Perfect, thank you. All right, does anyone else have a St. Joseph item that they would like to share? Otherwise, our next item is website, and I think Brittany had a little something to share about websites.
Yeah, so we were talking as we were planning the meeting that we thought each meeting we should talk about something, not necessarily like Ash Wednesday, Easter, but a little bit more focused on our role and you know, kind of what we do. So I just wanted to touch base on websites. So the first thing I did when I was hired in my role was to redo our website. It was horrible. Tons of outdated information. The look and feel of the website was not on brand. We weren't using our branded colors, things like that. So not saying that you need to go in and redo your website, but I was doing some research, and 52% of website viewers aren't your parishioners. And especially since COVID, I'm sure that number is even higher. There's a lot of people that have been, you know, quote, shopping for parishes. And so it's now more than ever, it's important that our websites are up to date, have, you know, all the necessary information right on our homepage for visitors, things like our address, how to become a member. If you're live streaming your videos, you know, your masses, make that easy for people to view and click on. Things like that. And I also noticed what kind of brought it to my mind. My sister, my nephew is going to be baptized, and she was on our childhood home parish's website to try to find baptismal dates, and their dates were back for 2018, 2019. So their dates hadn't been updated in a while. So I wanted to kind of plug that as a reminder. If you get a chance, a lot of people focus on social media, you know, they think it's super important that we're posting to Facebook and Instagram, things like that. But in reality, a lot of people are visiting our website first and foremost before they're finding us on Facebook, before they're, you know, checking us out on Instagram. So I encourage all of you to visit your websites. I personally quarterly have various directors. So our faith formation directors, parish ministry, all that, look at I send out an email quarterly and have them check any page that's associated with their ministry and double check it for errors, for missing dates, or, you know, past dates. And I encourage them to give me up-to-date information so that we're constantly up to date and have the correct information out there. And on top of that, our homepage, I'm on that at least weekly, if not multiple times a week, making sure that, you know, if I posted an Ash Wednesday, our Ash Wednesday services, that it's not there on Thursday. You know, it's important that our websites are a living, breathing thing, and we need to make sure that it's constantly up to date so that anyone who's visiting it knows that we're up to date with our information. So I just kind of wanted to do a little plug and encourage everyone to visit their website. If you get a chance this week, take a look, make sure, you know, you have all the information updated and that your homepage is easy to read, that it has all the visitor information that you could need. So that way, anyone who's visiting or who's thinking about visiting our church, will be able to do so pretty easily.
Thank you, Brittany. Oh,
Go ahead, Rhonda.
okay. Thank you, Brittany. A question. I heartily concur with everything you said. And that's, I started in August, and so I've been doing a lot of working to get stuff updated and making sure it looks fresh. My question, we use eCatholic at St. Tim's. Is there a way, to me, that's the only communication channel. I can't track how many people are coming to our website. Who are they? What are they clicking on? I don't know how to track that. Can anyone help me with that?
You should be able to use, this is Julie at Lourdes, you should be able to use Google Analytics on your eCatholic site. And if you call eCatholic support, they're very helpful about setting that up. That's been super helpful for me, because if some of you have heard the presentation that Melissa and Megan and let's see, who else? Brittany, I think you were on that, and Amanda did with the importance of having a hub, a really good website.
I guess maybe see how much room we have. It's such a small table. Maybe we can find a bigger table. Maybe. Yeah.
We'll always make room at the table. And the making sure that website's right. So you've got a good hub. You link all your social media to that. So you're good to go. And that was a wonderful reminder. I do a separate Lent at Lourdes, Advent at Lourdes, and it's a little bit redundant on the website, but it's like basically a place you can point people to. So that's been super helpful. But absolutely, you should be able to get all the analytics you need on an eCatholic site there. And eCatholic is also partnering with some stuff Bishop Barron's doing for Lent and Hallow. So be sure to check those out too, because it's more good content. You've got the local content, and then you've got some really good quality content that you can grab from those folks.
I forgot to mention, especially with eCatholic, there's a way, and we were talking, Amanda and I were talking about this. So you can view, when you're designing, you can view how it looks on a phone or tablet. It's also that you actually use your phone and go on and look at your website, because while it looks like it might look right on a mobile device, it doesn't always come up that way. And you really want to make sure it's called, from like a newspaper standpoint, above the fold. So basically everything that's, when you first pull up the screen, whether it's your mobile or the computer screen, that everything, the really important information is above the fold, and that people aren't scrolling through your homepage trying to find important information. So just another,
that's a great,
recommend actually looking on your phone.
Well, and I do that for two things. I will build it on my laptop for both the website and for our constant contact, but I proof it on my phone. And that way it kind of does two things for me. It's one more set of eyes on the content, but it also lets me see if there's anything weird as far as how it's displaying on another device.
So kind of also just kind of adding on, because I love the idea of the quarterly director audit of our websites, or making sure that they're doing what they can do. We have been trying to find creative ways for our historic volunteers to get involved during the pandemic. And this is one way that you can be a virtual volunteer, is just monthly, weekly, have some of your volunteers who are not able to come in person anymore, just look at your website and shoot you a note or shoot you an email of things that they're confused by, or things that caught them, or actual errors or out of date items. It's just so nice to just get that email right there, and then you can just like tick off those things, as opposed to having to try and do it yourself in all of our free time, right?
That's a great idea, Laura. I hadn't thought of having volunteers involved with that part of it, but I know here at St. Hubert, and I'm guessing a lot of you, I'm the only one who does the website just to keep it consistent with voice and quality, and just make sure that everything is up to date, as Brittany was talking about too. But that is a good way to get some input and get some others involved in the process, and to get extra sets of eyes on the content. I do the same thing that Brittany mentioned too, with having anyone who has content on the website just take a sweep through and make sure everything that is relevant to their roles is up to date, and the current information that they need out there is there. But I love that idea, Laura, of getting volunteers involved as well.
The other thing I was going to mention, if you have eCatholic, there is a way to hide pages. So when it's not Lent time, you can hide your fish fry, like to keep your drop-down menu clean. It's really important that the events that aren't immediately happening within the next month or two, that you hide those so that, again, people aren't scrolling through tons of different stuff. You know, you can kind of keep it a lot more simple that way.
Can you put your link to your website on for us so we can look at it?
Oh, geez. Hopefully it's good.
And also, just on the whole website thought, I updated ours recently in the end of December, actually, and launched it. And then I've been helping our local pregnancy center with theirs. And it just made me think of things I wanted to change on the church's website. And eCatholic has been fantastic. I don't have the pregnancy center one we used was Wix. And I've done that before, and so I was familiar with that, but eCatholic I'm not familiar with, and I don't seem to have the same, and maybe there's a way to get more design capability with it, which I think someone actually emailed me today and said that I could maybe do that. But I've been emailing them and asking them a bazillion questions like, could you take the shadow off of this area? Because I don't like that shadow. And they take it off. And then, can you do this? I just need this a little cleaner, and they make it cleaner. So they've been super helpful. And then also on the Google Analytics, they sent me how to set that up. And so I did set that up with our website, but I haven't seen any actual statistics or analytics come through yet. So I'm waiting on that.
Jen, a quick question for you. Oh my gosh, I just totally lost it.
Google Analytics, website, pregnancy center,
It
the
is
table.
gone. It'll come back to me. I have no idea.
All right, awesome, everybody. Good content on website. I think that is the last of the official business on our agenda. Does anyone have any other updates they want to share, questions, final topics that they want to bring in? I think I'm unstable, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. But does anyone have anything else that they wanted to discuss today since we have a little bit of extra time?
Did anyone else see the social media audit webinar by Hootsuite yesterday? It was like talking about what you do to do a social media audit. It's something we were looking at here at the Archdiocese. We haven't really done one before, and I don't know if anyone's done one before either. But it was really interesting. I'd be curious if anyone has ever, like when you were starting your job, if you did kind of an audit of your social media channels, or if you do it regularly to see how well they're functioning, or things like that.
I am curious, and APBA is looking at this too, is you were talking about how we live stream masses. And I think many parishes did it by default because it's like they had to jump into it. But now they're kind of looking at trying to do it by design. And so we were thinking at the APBA that we would maybe in March have some vendors come in to kind of share some best practices, and maybe we could collaborate with this group as well, because it's totally about communication and such. But I don't, and maybe it isn't a topic that is, maybe you're all like, oh, we got it figured out, no need for that. But that's not the sense I'm getting. I'm looking at some faces, I'm getting confirmation that it wouldn't be a bad topic. Okay, so I will continue to pursue that. And then the other thing, which it sounds, you're going to be like, insurance, why are you talking about insurance? But there was a change. So just so everyone understands, we are all insured through Catholic Mutual, which essentially we share the risk, each of our parishes. It's also why we have to all do those trainings and everything. But there was a decision made by our reinsurers that they are not going to cover us for communicable diseases. And what that means for all of us is you better have a COVID protocol at your parish, because there's already been a parish, I won't say who, that there was a complaint. Then I went to OSHA, and then they came in for the COVID complaint, and then went through other things. So now that parish will be being fined, and it's not covered by our insurance. I'm having Catholic Mutual present next week at the APBA meeting on it, but I know that all of us have, we all have fatigue from COVID as far as the things we have to do, but we just need to be aware of that. So just making you aware, because that is a change and such. So if you're doing different COVID protocols, be sure you're doing it. Or like my new employee started, and his first day among paperwork was, here's our 21-page COVID protocol that we wrote for him to review. So just, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but just be aware of it.
Where can we find more information on that to pass along to our staff?
I can send out, can we do this? Let me have the presentation by Catholic Mutual next Thursday. I've talked to Paula over there yesterday, and that did go out to all the administrators and priests already. Whether or not they actually read it or not is a different thing, which is why I'm highlighting them next week. But I can send you out a little more information to this group and such, and maybe we can have it, you know, we can do other communication channels. But it is something that's becoming, there's a liability to be had there. You know, and if a parishioner called me and said, what are your protocols? I provide them, here they are. But then the next question is, are you following them? So hopefully you all have protocols. We're all supposed to have that already, but I think it's the COVID thing where it's people like, do we have to do that anymore? Or I had a parishioner say, well, Dean, once we're all vaccinated, we don't have to do any of this stuff. That is not true at all. So just to make you aware, not to be alarmist, but just to make you aware of that.
Dean, do you know when that change occurred from Catholic Mutual?
It was effective January 1st. And you know what, I can send out, what's the easiest way? This is where I get embarrassed to get this information to all of you.
You can send it to any of us on the core team, Dean, and then we'll get it out to the group, or you could post it in the Flock Note group too, directly if you want to.
Yeah. I will probably be just sending it directly because I've got another Zoom after this Zoom. But it is something to be aware of. And I do know that, well, like Nicole at the Archdiocese offices, you're still all working remotely as much as possible, correct?
Yep, that's my understanding. I haven't been in since last March. So okay. Yeah. Some people have to go in, obviously.
Yeah. But so it's very different in a parish setting and such, but we do need to be aware of that and such. So Megan, I'll probably just send it to you right now if I can find it. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Dean. That's also helpful to know. All right. Well, I think we can close unless anybody has anything else and move on with our days. I'm so glad that this time worked for a lot of you. It was kind of nice for me to get in the morning and kind of get settled and get the kids off to school before jumping into a meeting right away. So I'm glad this works for a lot of you, and hopefully we'll continue to. And again, I think we're going to continue to keep this format. So if you have agenda items, once the next meeting event page comes out, you can submit your agenda items there, and then we will plan to cover those at our meeting. And good luck with Ash Wednesday and everything Lent going on at your parishes. Have a great day, guys.
You too.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.